Well, Tony, I can't tell you how glad we are to have you back. I wanted to play an Eminem riff where, the Guess Who's Back from Without Me. But I saw on Twitter like 2 years ago that if you use that riff, you will get flagged immediately and Eminem's lawyers will reach out to you. I saw that on Twitter. I think it was from one of the other podcasts, the Red Wings podcast. And I was like, I'm not in the mood to get sued. I love you, man. But I wanted to have some big, you're coming back. You're back with us. But it was to no avail, my man. Thank God you are back, though, brother. How have you been? Good to see you.
Good. I'm good. Thanks for holding down the fort while I was out, and appreciate you giving me space for some nice paternity leave. I guess the welcome back, the sort of we tried was kind of like second kid behavior, like I'm doing. So it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. Yeah, life's a little bit more stable now, so figure why not? I miss the boys.
Well, it's great to have you back, man. I mean, the part for me that's the best is I don't have to worry about the math and the contract situations and
I
the
second
stats
that.
and percentages. Because I was told there would be no math when we started this podcast. So thank God you're back.
Well, hit me with the contract stuff. Hit me with the trade stuff. I'm ready to go.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
Welcome to the Flying Octopus Podcast, offering a new perspective on Red Wings hockey, as well as all the important news from around the NHL. And now, here are your hosts, Tony Wolak, Devin Little, and Evan Sabrin.
Hey, it's Carter Bear, and you're listening to the Flying Octopus Podcast.
Welcome to episode 72 of the Flying Octopus Podcast, the Andreas Athanasiou edition. I can never say that name right, and I never could, even when he played with the Red Wings. We are so back. Tony Wolak is back in the mix. I am your host, Evan Sabrin, joined as always by Devin Little, and we just welcome back Tony. Tony, it's been we've missed you, man. We've really missed you. I know life's been crazy for you now, raising two people, but give us a little update on how Quinn's doing.
She's great. She's sleeping real well. So knock on wood, that continues tonight since we're recording a little after 10 o'clock Eastern right now. And I could use all the sleep I can get, right? No, but she's sleeping well. She's eating well. She's a gem. Everyone loves her. She's started daycare. Everyone calls her the princess there. So yeah, life's good. Emmett loves her. Is a great big brother. Learning how to be gentle still, but we're working on it. But yeah, we're, happy our family's full and, kind of remembering all this baby stuff on the fly. A lot of, oh yeah, there's that. Oh yeah, there's that. But we're managing.
Back to changing diapers, man. I don't miss those days, though. That's just something I don't look fondly upon. But, brother, we are glad to have you back because we really missed you, really needed you. And, we're coming off a little break of ourselves here, after the Olympic break. Took some time off, and we're back better than ever. The Red Wings are back as well. On today's episode, we're going to look back briefly at the Olympics, recap tonight's game versus the Senators, a 2-1 win in Ottawa, and our Olympic hero Dylan Larkin put an end to that one in overtime. And we're also going to address the swirling trade rumors that have pretty much bombarded my timeline on Twitter and everywhere else in social media with the Tyler Myers rumors, the Robert Thomas rumors. There's just a lot to get into. We haven't talked to you in a while, so we're excited to have everybody back. All right, but before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone where you can find us. Give us a follow on Twitter at Flying Octopod and check us out on YouTube at The Flying Octopod. And you can also listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. So let's dive right into it. I mean, the Olympics were great, guys. I had a great time watching them. I felt like almost every game came down to the wire. It was entertaining. It was fascinating. And I mean, everyone played balls out. And the biggest thing for me was that no one got hurt from the Detroit Red Wings. No one got hurt, while other teams did suffer some big injuries. You look at Mikko Rantanen and Sidney Crosby. But how'd you guys feel about the Olympics, man? It came up all gold for USA.
Well, I, for one, I'll start at the beginning. Round robin, I love the 6 o'clock a.m. games. Like, I know that that was a sticking point, and like I know people were upset about such early games, but like I'm up, I'm giving Quinn a bottle, and it's like, hey, Switzerland's playing France right now. Let's watch this. So got to watch plenty of hockey. That was great. Of course, USA winning was outstanding. As it was such a great experience to watch best on best hockey in the Olympics again, because it had been so long, right? Um, and the game had changed so much since 2014 when it was in Sochi. But it was just, again, it was a great experience to watch the Olympics like back to what they're supposed to be. And yeah, no Red Wings got hurt. 3 Red Wings and 1 Griffin were, on the world stage and performing really well. Let's also give Edwards Trelmack some love here. Lucas Raymond was outstanding for Sweden. Moritz Seider didn't come off the ice for Germany. Obviously, Dylan Larkin played the pivotal role for the United States and was the heart and soul leader of the team. No one got hurt. I thought Larkin might get hurt celebrating, but glad that didn't happen. You don't do squats with Mike Ruzioni on your shoulders every day, so glad to see nothing got pulled there. But yeah, we're back.
I was a little worried about Larkin, and I tweeted out too. I'm like, how has no one started the Dylan Larkin's hangover account? There's like a drunk Miggy account. There's like, Jeff Petrie's brain or something, but no one started the Dylan, because Dylan Larkin looks like he had a good time. I mean, did he not? I don't think there was anybody more front and center in the party circle, which makes you kind of think like, man, when the Red Wings win the Stanley Cup, it's going to be on. Like, it's really gonna be on. That was really exciting. And yeah, the Dylan Larkin on with the shoulders. I mean, not even Micah Ruzioni. He had like, I saw him with like 3 different people on his shoulders at one point, partying at that 11 club. Like that's not like, you don't want to see that. You're like, wow, you just made it through the Olympics healthy. Now let's not ruin it by like Micah Ruzioni. Like, how do you describe that?
But,
like, I'm out for 2 weeks because Mike Ruzioni's on my
but
shoulder.
Now we know he's that guy. When he gets to a certain level, he's like, come here, let me put you on my shoulder. It's like, whether it's Ruzioni or Jack Hughes or whoever it is, just get over here. Come on, let's make you taller.
And it's scary to think what that party is going to look like. And to getting into tonight's game, I was a little worried about Dylan Larkin, because the way he partied, if that was my hangover, I'd be out for like a week. If I drank and it looks like they drank nonstop from when they won it through the going to the White House, it just party. Like, I'd be out for a week. There's no way. That was my biggest concern going into tonight's game. So tonight's game, Red Wings were 3rd in the Atlantic, 72 points. Not a great start in the first period for the Red Wings. And let's dive into the game tonight in Ottawa here real quick. It was not a great first period. Guys seemed a little rusty. What did you guys seem to think about the first period, the way the Red Wings came out? Because I was worried about Larkin a little bit, but hey, he came to play there. What'd you see, Dylan? Or what'd you see, Devin? I'm so used to saying Dylan.
And, last initials L too. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
It felt like a first game back from a long break, like just kind of flat in a lot of different areas. Some guys don't necessarily have the jump they usually had. Definitely looked like the Senators were feeding off home ice and just quicker on pucks, making more things happen. Seemed like it was. And it still kind of ended up being this type of game, but it kind of seemed like the type of game where John Gibson was going to have to steal one. And he absolutely was fantastic, and he was a big reason why they won. As the game went on, they started to kind of regain and kind of wrestle away some control from the Senators. But yeah, no, like I said, it very much, first 10, 15, even 20 minutes was like, yep, first game back from a long break. It definitely looks like it.
Yeah, Gibson came up huge in that first period, and definitely in the third as well. Tony, what did you think about Gibson's performance after a little long layoff? He really stood on his head tonight, I thought.
Absolutely, yeah. He showed up. Like, obviously, playing the position myself, not at the same level, obviously, but playing the position, like, I know, like, after you've been like out a while or taking a break or what have you, like, getting back in there, you don't just pick up where you left off. You got to like you have to get back into that same mental space, that same like muscle memory space. But for whatever reason, 3 weeks later, John Gibson's still dialed in, and the Red Wings needed that because Devin's right. They came out flat in the first period, and then from there they picked it up. Second period was better. Third period was fine. Overtime was great, but yeah, they needed Gibson. He came through, and that just between the way Gibson played, the way the team found a way to win. This is sort of resiliency isn't something that we've seen from the Red Wings in the past few years, past decade. So as they get closer to the postseason, like these are the kind of wins that matter. It's like they could have easily folded in Ottawa, first game back from a long break, easily, lost in regulation after giving up a, a a bad chance, but they found a way. That's what makes this team different this year. They keep battling and battling and battling, and like it's not pretty, but they get it done.
Yeah, I stopped 26 to 27, and I really felt like that he really did steal this one. And like you said, Tony, we haven't, the Red Wings haven't had goaltending like this in a long time, and Gibson's been nothing but stellar. I think he's, arguably one of the top 5 most important Red Wings, maybe even higher. Second period though, that Simon Edvinsson is quickly becoming everyone's favorite Red Wing, and he did himself no harm there in the second there, laying out Brady Tkachuk. Like that was a big hit, and he stood up to Tkachuk, and you knew Tkachuk's was gonna lip him and mouth him all in the penalty box, and Edvinsson didn't back down. And you can kind of see this guy, like he's getting more comfortable in this league, and he's showing his importance to this team. Like I don't know, Devin, that was a good thing to see Tkachuk on his ass, especially after all the hatred between these two teams. Brady Tkachuk's obviously not a fan favorite in Detroit. He's probably enemy number 1 when we look back at this rivalry. But watching Edvinsson put him on his ass, that was top notch.
Yeah, watching Edmonton today, I couldn't help but think of 2 things. One, all those years ago when you and I were, pounding the table to get that kid up to Detroit, right? Obviously, the extra time in Grand Rapids seems to have done him well, but man, that it just like I couldn't help thinking of the old days where it was like this kid needs to be in Detroit, right? And then the second thing I was thinking of is this is why you don't trade him for Quinn Hughes. Like, I not to bring it back to all of that, but if Simon Edvinsson was the sticking point in those talks, this is why he not only is a very solid and even developing defenseman in his own right, but he also kind of embodies the spirit that Steve Yzerman seems to want the team to have. He's not afraid to back down, or he doesn't back down from the challenge that a player like Brady Tkachuk poses, right? He's not afraid to knock that player down and then jar back and forth with him in the penalty box. He'll go toe-to-toe with those types of guys. And then he'll also make a really solid defensive play once he gets back on the ice. Like he's one of those he's not just like a quality piece in terms of like how he, what he produces on the ice, but I think he's kind of ultimately going to end up being a culture piece as well. He kind of, like I said, he embodies that player. So really, really good game for Edmonton. Really fun game to watch if you're an Edmonton fan. And yeah, like you said, Evan, I think he's quickly becoming a fan favorite if he isn't already in Detroit. Tony, did you particularly enjoy any part of Edmonton's game today?
First, death taxes and Brady Tkachuk taking a dumb penalty. Like the Red Wings are I think everything evened out, but you go over to the penalty box, jawing at Edvinsson, you get a 10-minute misconduct. Like, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, that's not going to end well. You know that. I guess he doesn't know that, but yeah, no. between
There's a lot of things.
Yeah. But I mean, look, yeah, Edvinsson is quickly becoming like an outstanding shutdown defenseman for the Red Wings. He was a bit under the radar last year. This year, very much at the forefront with Seider being a complete two-way shutdown and can produce offensively, defensive pair. Both are, if you look at any of the metrics, both are top pair quality defensemen. And like Devin said, those are building blocks, not just from a culture perspective, but like from a talent perspective. Like you need those building blocks to be, Stanley Cup contenders one day, and Red Wings have them. They certainly drafted well when they picked Edvinsson. But yeah, like he was, shutting players down in overtime. He was shutting players down, throughout the game. contribute a little bit in the offensive zone. So yeah, it may not show up on the stat sheet, like the box score, how important he is, but the Red Wings are giving up 1 goal. They're winning games. Like, and Edvinson's playing 20 plus minutes a night. Like, he is a big reason why.
Yeah, 23-46 tonight. He blocked 5 shots tonight to lead the team. His length has really just become a factor, and you could tell when he was out of the lineup how the Red Wings kind of struggled defensively because he's such a big part of this defense, and he's a guy that you can't afford to have miss a lot of time, especially as we go down the stretch here with these last 23 games. And then the Dylan Larkin talk and me being concerned about that, he put that to bed real quickly, scoring there in the second period in the power play from Raymond. And Raymond, gosh, I mean, we didn't even talk about him and what a great Olympics he had. 8 points?
9.
Was he top 5 in scoring in the Olympics? 9 points. Oh, my bad. Yeah, he was a dog too in the Olympics. But yeah, he hit Larkin earlier there in the power play, and Red Wings tied it up. And then, gosh, third period was kind of ugly back and forth, but that overtime, man, it's Larkin he might still be drunk. Like he looked like he might still be drunk after he scored that winner because that guy's flying on cloud 9. And what a way to end it. What a way to get Red Wings hockey, back after this long layoff. It was great to see tonight. The excitement, the energy. It's great. It's just great to have these guys back right now.
I just want to say real quick that if I could be in anyone's shoes in this particular moment, it would be Dylan Larkin because he's having a really good week or so, I'd say. Like probably the best week of anyone from Michigan. I might even argue.
He's on a heater. Yeah, for sure.
And we were worried about him going into the Olympic break about, he wasn't putting up the points. It didn't seem like this, the same Dylan Larkin that we're used to. And people were talking about maybe he was playing injured or something else was going on. But I mean, going back to the Olympics briefly here, it was kind of great to see all the players who came out and said, how important Dylan was to Team USA. And, I really think that Larkin kind of put himself more on the map. He did last year at the Four Nations, but there weren't as many games as there are for the Olympics. And these Olympics was just kind of really showcased what he can mean to a team, not just as a goal scorer and someone who scores points, but his 200-foot game and what he meant to his teammates and just giving it all out there and being on the ice for the last goal. And it was just an amazing. And in fact, that all those Olympians they were all Michiganders that were on the last goal on the ice, and some people are saying, Jack Hughes doesn't count because he's born in Florida. Bullshit. He lives in Canton, Michigan, and he has for a long time. So that's all Michiganders to me. Now, Tony, I know you've been out for a bit, and I still have said it and called you out for it, but I know you've missed my favorite transition in the business, and that is called shifting gears.
Oh, I've heard all of them. Trust me, I've heard all of them.
Okay. Well, I shouted you out for each one, man. I really did. So anyway, this week, I'm literally at the point where I don't even want to go on Twitter anymore. Besides the all the Olympic talk and stuff that we're not going to get into, but just the trade rumors, man. It's just nonstop. My whole timeline algorithm is Tyler Myers, Robert Thomas, Logan Stanley, and let's focus on Tyler Myers first, because I guess it was reported Friedman, Dreger, Chris Johnson all said that a deal is almost close in place, but that Tyler Myers might not, who has a no movement clause, might not be keen on coming to Detroit. So I want to go over Tyler Myers really quick. A 36-year-old, 6'8" defenseman. We know Yzerman loves his big defenseman. We all know that's the narrative when you get to the playoffs is big hulking defenseman. But 36 years old, 17-year NHL veteran, came in the league with the Sabres, won the Calder Trophy his rookie year, 48 points his rookie season. He hasn't topped 40 in the 16 years since. He does average about 20 minutes a night for Vancouver, 8 points and a minus 25 in 57 games with the Canucks this season. And as I mentioned, that no movement clause. So it looks like there's a couple things to be worked out here as far as if this is going to come through. I mean, does it feel a little bit like the Jacob Trouba situation, Tony? But also, if the Red Wings are going after a guy like Tyler Myers, like what are they getting here? And are you in favor of a move like this, depending on the cost?
Christ, Evan, that was like 7 questions there. All right. Where to start? Jesus. Yes, there were rumors going around about Tyler Myers could be traded soon. Detroit could be one of the teams interested. Detroit may or may not have put an offer forward that Tyler Myers is weighing whether or not he wants to waive his no trade clause or not. I haven't heard anything concrete about what the Red Wings have done, so I can't say that like they put forth an offer and Vancouver accepted, and now we're just waiting on Myers to waive his no trade clause or not, or no movement clause or not. Like, I don't know what exactly has gone down yet. I know the Red Wings are looking at about 1,000 players, and Tyler Myers is probably one of them. But yeah, I mean, look, if the Red Wings end up getting Tyler Myers, like, great. Like, he is a 4 or 5 defenseman who can, play on the third pair with Albert Johansson for most of the game, and then jump up and replace Axel Sandin-Pellikka late in games and play alongside Ben Sherratt. Kind of more of a meat and potatoes player these days. He's actually pretty solid from a shutdown perspective. When he has the puck, it's a little dicey sometimes, but like, you're not looking at him as like someone who's going to carry the second pair. Like, that is not it. He could play top 4 minutes, but again, that's you need to just kind of caveat that with like, he's the 4th guy in the top 4. And given that in his age and his contract and his lack of offensive production, like, all these things are fine. It's just, if the Red Wings are going to acquire someone like him, they really can't be giving up premium assets for him. Now, if it's like a 3rd round pick, sure. If it's a depth defenseman that may just be buried on the depth chart now, like Shai Buium, maybe, sure. Like, that's fine. Red Wings have a decent defenseman under contract this year and into next season. I don't love it, but I'd rather spend premium assets on a forward anyway, so it's not the end of the world if the Red Wings do acquire him. Now, that said, I would love to see other defenseman, brought in, but I don't know. Devin, this is like one of those things where like I can see people getting worked up about it and like, oh, the Red Wings should have gone after so-and-so, and this is like, why would Yzerman do this? But I'm fine with it. Like, it's not the end of the world, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's the end of the world. And in fact, I think it's maybe Yzerman trying to be economical in terms of how he uses his assets. It's no secret that the Red Wings are not trying to just acquire one player. There's a couple of needs they're trying to address. They want a defenseman that can fit into the top 4, and they'd like to get help in the top 6. Obviously, easier said than done. But you got to have assets to acquire both, and depending on who you're looking at and to fill either need, it could get really expensive really fast. So it maybe, with them being connected to players like Elias Pettersson and Robert Thomas, I do wonder if maybe they're looking at maybe not making as big of a splash on the blue line, still getting help and somebody that can, basically plug a hole for a couple of years, while being relatively cheap. So then they can invest or feel more comfortable with investing some bigger assets in a forward, perhaps. Obviously, I'm kind of speculating here, but it does make me wonder. I think that Yzerman would prefer, any GM worth their while would prefer to address their needs as cheaply as possible. So I think that maybe this is Yzerman kind of feeling out what he can get, without sending a 1st-round pick for this and a 1st-round pick for that, and Nate Danielson for that. And, it's yeah, at the end of the day, I'm with you, Tony. If Tyler Myers is who they acquire as their blue line help, I would agree. There's definitely other players out there,
Sure.
That I'd be more excited about. But as long as they're not sending out a premium asset to acquire him, he'll do.
Yeah, it's funny, Tony, you mentioned that too. Shai Buium and his brother Zeev is also in Vancouver right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, looking at the trade board, there's like Tyler Myers is out there, Rasmus Ristolainen is out there, Justin Falk is out there, Luke Shen, Logan Stanley, all these defensemen that are like out there on the trade block. I want to give up a premium asset for any of them. And I'm talking about like a first round pick or equivalent. Like, I don't think any of those players are worth that. Now, I know the asking price for like Falk and Ristolainen is
Yeah.
that at least. But again, like Devin was saying, like Yzerman needs to be economical with his premium assets, whether it's a first round pick this year, next year, some recent first round picks like Danielson, Casper, Carter Bear, Michael Brandsegg-Nygaard, Axel Sandin Pellikka. Like, if any of those players or picks are going to be dealt, it needs to be for a true difference maker, like a Robert Thomas or an Elias Pettersson. But for a year and a half of Justin Falk, no, I'm good. Like, I know he provides value, but not at that cost. Sorry. No.
And Evan, just real quick, I just want to see if I can stump you here. Do you know who Tyler Myers beat out when he won the Calder Trophy back in 2010?
Oh, shoot. Oh, God.
Come on, man. It's
I'm
right
not gonna
there.
get it,
It's
dude. I
right
can't think
there.
back.
I believe in you.
can
You
do
need
it.
to get this.
2010.
We're on a Red Wings show.
Oh, God. I can't think that far back. Jesus. I can barely remember what I had for lunch today, dude.
You may or may not have had a dog named after this guy.
Oh, he beat out Jimmy Howard?
Yeah.
He beat out
Did
Jimmy
it? I
Howard.
did not remember that. I did not remember that. That's crazy. I mean, that's 16 years ago. How far back do you think I can remember?
Jimmy Howard was the Michael Bunting of that Calder cycle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, I'm not worried about the Red. Like, and again, we've talked about this all the time. And you're right, Tony. If you're going to spend premium assets, go out and get a top 6 forward. You have your Sider, you have your Evanson. You're hoping ASP becomes that great second pairing defenseman. You're finding fill-ins now at the 4, 5, and 6 spots. And is Tyler Myers an upgrade over Jacob Bernard Docker and well, I guess you can't say Justin Holl anymore, but he is an upgrade. And I think you can have him cheap. You're not getting anything more than a third round pick, if that, for a Tyler Myers, especially for a team that's not contending and just looking to dump. I think Tyler Myers can be an asset again with his length, the size. We talked about the playoffs and Yzerman liking these big hulking defensemen, but yeah, I don't think they'd give up much. But again, it doesn't look like. And again, looking on Twitter, social media, wherever we get all our information, you have so many people saying so many different things. We never know. I was talking to Nick today from Hockeytown West podcast, and he's like, oh, this is a really exciting time with who the Red Wings, probably making a big trade here or a significant trade here. And it's like, dude, I've been through this for how many years? I mean, I can actually remember back to the Ryan Suter-Parisi trade where we all thought forever that like one of them were coming, and what's his face still blocked me. Aaron Ward still blocked me because I called him a dumbass after he made up a bunch of rumors about them coming to the Red Wings. But I'm just waiting for it to happen. I'm tired of talking about it. Just make it happen instead of just reading on and on and on every day. So I don't think we'll ever truly know what's out there because, as we know, Yzerman always plays it close to the vest and never really, shows his cards, shows his hand. But if Tyler Myers, if there's a deal there to be made, yeah, that's fine. It's not gonna disrupt anything as far as the timeline. You're not giving up premium assets. I'm fine with it. It's an upgrade over Jacob Bernard Docker. I say, let it be. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, there's other options out there. I know you, Devin, you love Connor Murphy, and we never, we didn't really discuss him much, but I was more on the Connor Murphy hype train than Tyler Myers.
I think he's kind of a similar type of player as Tyler Myers. Obviously, a few differences, a little younger, different contract situation, but I think that you're getting the same type of player if you were to go after Connor Murphy, and who knows what the acquisition cost would be. But yeah, no, he's definitely a defenseman that I'd be more excited about if they were to acquire ahead of Tyler Myers. What about you, Tony?
The 3 blue liners I'm looking at, Brandon Carlo, Nick Perbix, and Dougie Hamilton. And I know the Red Wings have had interest in all 3 of those players in the past. So it's possible they just, go back to that same, thought process. But those 3 players, they're all under contract for next season too, and they're all relatively cheaper than like a Justin Falk or Rasmus Ristolainen or like those top tier names that are out there that aren't exactly top tier players. So yeah, I'd rather the Red Wings offer up like a second or third for like those types of players, maybe prospect two to get it done. Um, but I think any one of those players can slide into the second pair and be an upgrade, and give the Red Wings another longer defensive defenseman to play alongside Bentrod, and Hamilton's got an offensive upside too, so that's a plus there. But again, it's funny. It's a Philip Hronik size hole on the right side right now that they're trying to fill. So we'll see what happens. But if I could pick one of those players, I do think the Red Wings might take another run at Nick Perbix, just because I know they were interested in him as a free agent, and he's young enough. He's under contract, like I said. And he's a bit under the radar, I guess. So yeah, that's where I would go. Now, from a forward perspective, actually, before we move to forward, I know there was the mention of MacKenzie Weegar as well as being a player that the Red Wings had interest in. Obviously, I can see the fit there, and like the reason why that he was connected to the Red Wings. And sure, I'm sure Steve Yzerman called Craig Conroy about him just to check in, but at least for me, it's kind of in the same ballpark as Justin Falk, where it's like the ask is going to be high. We already know that. Doesn't make sense. 32 years old, younger than me, but he's got under contract for a few more years still at $6.25 million, and he's been fine this year for Calgary, and like you can expect over the next few years, it's like he won't fall off a cliff, but like, is he the right player you want to trade premium assets for? And I don't think so. Like, I don't think the Red Wings should force it. And like, if he's not the guy, he's not the guy. So that's why I'm like more on like the next tier down, like Hamilton, Perbix, Carlo, those players.
I know you said something about Dougie Hamilton, and I know you got a lot of feedback on that, more positive than the Tyler Myers one on social media, Tony. Yeah. Dougie Hamilton, I really think there's a fit there, and I think New Jersey wants to move him. They're looking to free up space. Dougie Hamilton would be an interesting one for me. If that was my first choice, that would be it. But I do want to shift quickly to shifting gears, Tony. The Robert Thomas rumors, and that's another big name that Detroit could acquire that would cover a lot of needs for the Red Wings in the top six. That will cost premium assets. And I'm curious what you guys think. What would you be willing to give up, or what do you think the cost would be for a player of Robert Thomas's caliber?
I think St. Louis reporter Jeremy Rutherford mentioned that the ask is at least 3 first-round pick caliber assets, or like top half of the first round. So like from Detroit's perspective, that's like this year's first, Danielson or Casper, and someone else. And probably a second or third round pick to throw in there to balance things out. I'm on board. Like if it's like, a first Danielson and Trey Augustine and say a third for Robert Thomas, like do it. Like 100%. Those players don't come along very often, whether it's him or Elias Pettersson. Like that's a deal you're gonna have to make. And this is kind of the new reality for the Red Wings too. It's like they've spent so many years like of rebuilding, of like adding all these assets and like accumulating draft picks, accumulating prospects, having one of the best prospect pools in the league. And some of these players are starting to mature into NHL players, and like not all the prospects in Detroit system have a future in Detroit. And like that's, people have to like understand that you may love Amadeus Lombardi, but he may be playing somewhere else soon. Like not every Red Wings prospect will be a Red Wing. They have an abundance of prospects. So they need to consolidate their assets and trade for someone who's going to be a top half of the lineup player. Do I think something will happen with Robert Thomas this season or before the deadline? To be honest, I don't think so. St. Louis has absolutely no urgency to move him. They might be able to sell high at the deadline. Like, who knows? But he's under contract for a while still. He's only like 26, 27, still pretty young. 26, I think. Again, there's no urgency. Like he's not a rental. He's not going to be a free agent. So if they don't get an offer that they like Why make a move?
Yeah, I'm gonna basically second everything you said there, Tony. I'm as much as I was apprehensive about going all in on Quinn Hughes back in December, Robert Thomas is a player where I go, this is one that you push the chips in on. And I think that the Red Wings can afford to do it too. My kind of deal I have in my head is Nate Danielson, 2026 first, a second, a conditional second that turns into a first, depending on this or that. And then, yeah, basically pick one other prospect, basically. And then maybe you throw in, because they're probably going to send, maybe in their Justin Falk deal that they're going to make, they don't get a defenseman back to like fill a roster spot. Maybe you throw William Wallander in there just to get him into the NHL, basically like kind of do him a favor. And also, you're giving St. Louis another significant piece. It's like throwing a second or a third into the deal. And then you have Robert Thomas. Bingo, bango. You're cooking. Your top six is basically set for at least a season or two, right? Like I said, the Red Wings are officially in a spot where it's time to push some chips in. They've been slow playing. If this was a game of poker, they've been slow playing their hands as they go. Maybe folding when they could have kept playing, and maybe kept playing when they should have folded. And now they're in a spot where they're in a good spot, and it's time to start being aggressive with some of the hands. They've been dealt a good hand. They have a team that can compete, and it's time to push some chips in. I'm not saying they need to go all in per se, but they can be aggressive now. And Robert Thomas is the type of player where they can be calculated while also being aggressive. He'll play at least 5 years with them and play 5 years of really good hockey, and those are the types of players that are worth the sizable investment they'll have to make to acquire that player. And the crazy thing is that even after making an offer, whether it's my offer or Tony's, they still have a hell of a prospect pool left over. It's not like they emptied the cupboards to get one player. They still will have plenty of talent pouring into their roster over time, even after a deal.
Some of the other names that I've been, I guess, tracking, I can see Jordan Kyrou being a fit too. I don't think there's really I know I've seen some things about Detroit preferring a center. I don't think that's the case. I think it's fine, center, winger. It really doesn't matter as long as you're getting a top six piece. Like Jordan Kyrou would be great. Or Sharon Govich would be great from Calgary. Not really sold on Nazem Kadri. Fit for right now, sure, but there's a contract attached to him that I don't love. There's Ryan O'Reilly. I think he would actually be a really solid culture ad if the Red Wings were able to get him. Just not sure it'd be worth the premium asset, but I guess that's the world we live in. Mika Zibanejad, Devin, I know you brought him up before, especially after how him and Lucas Raymond performed at the Olympics for sure. But again, we touched on it a little bit, but it's just worth calling out that the Red Wings, they are buyers for the first time in forever. And this market that they're entering to buy is like one of the most lopsided sellers markets in recent memory. Like there are only a few top tier assets. There's several of those players like Pettersson, like Robert Thomas, like Jordan Kyrou, all those players, there's no urgency to deal them because they're signed for a while still, and they're still young enough where you're going to be holding out to them during their prime. So there's no, like, these teams aren't like under the gun to move them. Red Wings, if they're going to acquire a top six forward or a top four defenseman, chances are they might have to overpay a little bit, and that's just the way the game works. It's like whatever trade comes down with the Red Wings, it's like they get X player for a first round pick, William Wallander, Carter Mazer, and people are like, oh my God, that's so much. Why would you pay that much? It's like, well, that's what the market dictates. Like if you want to add a player of that caliber, that's just the game you got to play. And like that, this is a new thing because Red Wings haven't bought since Ken Holland was the general manager. Like if you really want to add these top of the lineup pieces, you have to give up a lot. Unless you want to wait till the off season and just roll with what you have, but I don't think that would be a smart move.
Yeah. I think it was crazy. Earlier this week, Nate Danielson set out 2 games for the Griffins, and everyone was speculating, and everyone's writing on Twitter about what scouts or where. And I'm thinking, oh, here comes that move. But again, we're sitting around just waiting until it happens. And until then, you got to read the rumors and roll with the punches.
For everyone who wasn't aware, he was banged up. Wasn't trade related. He was injured. So throwing that out
Yeah,
there.
I know. But that's where everyone's
Yeah.
head. That's the first thing where everyone's head goes to.
Disclaimer.
And the AHL is like so. The AHL is so shady about injuries. Like, still, nobody knows what even Carter Mazur's injury is still, and he got hurt like 5 months ago. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. A lot of rumors. I'm trying to stay off Twitter, guys. It's too many rumors, too much of a cesspool arguing and all that. So when it comes, one of you guys has to text me, Devin, just like you did with the Quinn Hughes right after we finished our.
Probably after we're done with this one.
Yeah. I'll hit stop here, and there goes Dougie Hamilton to the Red Wings.
I'm curious to before we wrap up. I am curious though, Devin. Trade deadline. It's over on Friday. Who have the Red Wings acquired?
Everybody pick one
or two.
Yeah, we pick
You can do whatever you want.
They acquired Dougie Hamilton, and I'll leave it there.
Evan,
Tony, I'll go next. I'm gonna go big, and I'm gonna say there's a trade with Tyler Myers and Elias Pettersson. I'm feeling it. I think Vancouver. I think he's worn out his welcome there, and I think Vancouver is probably gonna go full rebuild. And let's add another Swede to the lineup to play with Raymond. Why not?
Just real quick, can we talk about how there's that report that like the only untouchable player in Vancouver is Philip Hronek. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
That's all. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Brock Besser's on the mark.
I mean, Vancouver would be a good trade partner regardless of what players are involved. Pettersson, DeBrusk, Besser, Vander Kane, Marcus Pettersson, Philip Hronek, Tyler Myers, you name it.
That's another one I like is Marcus Pettersson.
You've been a Marcus Pettersson fan forever.
I have.
So for my prediction, Red Wings get Nick Perbix from Nashville for like a third, and William Wallinder or Puyam or Antetokounmpo stuff, something like that. And then the forward they get is someone just like completely off the board. I don't know who. I'm not trying to start any rumors or anything. I generally don't know who, but I do think that they get a top 6 forward who's just like, oh, I didn't know he was out there. So we'll see.
DeBrusk. And you know what? You love Nick Perbix like I love Marcus Pettersson. So
yeah, he's underrated. You guys should appreciate him.
Yeah, I do. All right, guys, we're going to wrap here today. But Red Wings, Saturday, travel to Carolina to play the Hurricanes. And then Monday, they're in Nashville to take on the Predators and maybe bring home Ryan O'Reilly with them. And then on Wednesday, they will return to LCA to host the Vegas Golden Knights. Reminder that the trade deadline is March 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we usually record on Thursday night and deliver on Friday. So if something happens between now and then, there may be an emergency podcast. It's exciting times, but I'm staying off. You guys got to text me when something happens. I'm off to Twitter. I'm done. It's a mental health thing. I can't do it anymore. But thanks for listening to episode 72 of the Flying Octopus Podcast. Tony, so glad to have you back, brother. I didn't have to, the math thing is really making me feel a little more calm and not having to worry about numbers. So Devin, always great to see you guys. Missed you all, but we'll be back next week. And once again, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Flying Octopus Podcast. Follow us on YouTube at the Flying Octopus channel and Twitter at Flying Octopod.